Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now, with the upcoming Banquet event, we have effectively 8 champions that are going to be coming to the game as 7 stars, and we have been expecting them. Well, a couple of them are buffs and first time releases 7 stars. The one champion I'm not going to talk and rate much is going to be the Punisher, because the Punisher is going to be like super hard to get. So he's going to be a trophy champion. We don't know exactly where he's going to land. Looks like he's going to be an annoying defender with some good offensive matchups as well. But I'm keeping that kind of out of this. So first, we're going to rate the Banquet box, which I think is kind of fitting, because I do think, well, we're going to get it. And then we're going to compare Kingpin and Absman. First thing, I think the champion that I personally kind of like care for and want to see the least is Thekiryu Foster. Because, well, she's one of the 2 buff champions, and I know she can do some half-decent things, but I did end up taking her to max rank as a 6-star, ascended her, tested her out, and number 1, I didn't particularly love using her. To me, it felt, the kit didn't feel kind of like fluid well enough. The whole level 2 cash out thing seemed to be a bit too gimmicky to me. Like, honestly, the best way I found to use her is just like activate level 1 and then get to level 3s and, you know, keep doing that as long. But I don't know. She, I think, will obviously be able to take some matchups. I just don't think I need her for anything. Like, if you have some other good Mystic champions, I think there's very little reason to look towards Thekiryu Foster as somebody you want to, let's say, rank 4 and invest 6 stones in. Like, let's face it, who would you rather rank for? Like, Thekiryu Foster or Kushala? Thekiryu Foster or Nico? Thekiryu Foster or, you know, the rest of the top Mystic champions. So, personally, I don't think she's awful. I just don't really care, and I don't think she's going to make much of an impact in the game based on the initial testing. Obviously, it could be wrong, but I'm putting her in the bottom. I think she's better than, you know, let's say, I think she can be more useful than, let's say, Sentry was in the last Glorious Guardians, but I just don't really expect too much from her. So I'm definitely not going to be focusing on her initially, and I am placing that at spot number 6 in the Banquet box. Moving on, spot number 5 is X23. Now, I have tested her again. I didn't max her out as a 6-star, ascended her, tested her out. And I also have seen the 7-star rank 4 gameplay. And obviously, in the 7-star rank 4 gameplay, she did look better. But at the same time, as I said in my kind of like video reflection about X23, first of all, as 6 stars, her damage output ended up being approximately the same as Captain Britain, basically. And Captain Britain had more of an overkill overhang in those fights. Now, obviously, she would do the better matchups than Captain Britain because of her evade counter ability, access to like ton of dots quite quickly. But again, it's a fairly similar case with X23 than it is with Thekiryu Foster. Don't really see me kind of investing heavily in her. I don't really see anything she would do much better than other champions don't do in the game already. And if I pulled her, I'd probably take her to rank 3, maybe. Actually, now that I have maxed out my 6-star, maybe I wouldn't. But her deep dive looked great. It looked like fun. But the more I kept using that X23 as 6-star and random piece of content, the less fun it felt. It felt like you ramp up a lot, and then you kind of cash out, and whilst it's fun tapping that light button for a while, again, it just kind of seemed underwhelming a little bit. Overall, again, I do think she has half-decent matchup list, but she's an offensive-only champion, just like Thekiryu Foster, that I don't think kind of like outcompetes current mutants at all. And there are like 6-7 mutants ahead of her that are like dual threat type of champions that can perform offensively equally as well, if not better. And then there's, you know, Deadpool, X-Force, and Dazzler and whatnot that I think are just better offensively as well. So, again, just like with Thekiryu Foster, it's quite hard for me to see her be necessary. That is not to say if you like X23, you can't rank her and do some good things. But that is to say that unless there is a very good reason to rank her up for like a very specific meta where she goes absolutely ham or something, I'm just not gonna do it. And that's why she's the second one from the bottom. But number 3 is Valkyrie. Again, I do think Valkyrie is again kind of tier higher. I think Valkyrie will absolutely have place in Alliance War with her, hit the block mechanic. I do think there will be times and instances when she does very, very well in Battlegrounds as well. But, compared of all the gameplay that we have seen, compared like potential matchups where the game has kind of like moved and evolved to, I think she's going to be good. I don't, again, think she's what the skill class right now needs to kind of like get back to the top. But with Valkyrie, at the very least, I can easily see possibility of her actually, being a somewhat relevant mainstream champion, being used for Alliance War, being used for specific challenge modes. Because Valkyrie has always shined the most in the fights where timer doesn't matter, where you can just slowly and methodically hit the opponent's block, ramp yourself up slow, and nice, and be safe from all sorts of abilities that would trigger when you strike the opponent and do not trigger when you hit their block, thus giving opponent also less power and, kind of like running in those fights. And again, that is good stuff for Alliance War, that is good stuff for challenge mode content like Eternity of Pain and things like that. That's not necessarily, the go-to option for Battlegrounds because the time there does matter quite a bit. I think she easily has the damage potential to work in Battlegrounds, obviously, but then you would have to strike the opponent directly, which kind of takes away a lot of the versatility of the playstyle. I think she absolutely will still have some matchups, but again, if you take a look at what's currently, relevant and significant in the game, in the science class, for instance, is she particularly great photon counter? She's all right, she's good, but she's not exceptional. Would she be good Spider-Woman counter? Again, I think she's solid, but she doesn't really do the evade countering, and you'd have to ramp her up, which could get tricky. So I think she can work, and I think she is quite good, but she's not still the champion. Well, I would not, if I would have been given a selector, she's definitely not the champion that I'm selecting out of it. Additional big thing about Valkyrie that I did want to mention is that she is reliant on that SIG 200 basically, or close to SIG 200, SIG 190 something, where you need, or is it SIG 200? Where you need effectively her at SIG 200 to be able to, access her unstoppable counter or her stun immunity at 1 pierce or bulwark respectively. Otherwise, it often was kind of like too slow, a bit too late. So if you do kind of like want Valkyrie, then she's absolutely a champion. You have to go all the way in and take her to SIG 200. On the bright side, she does have quite good prestige, so I can absolutely see plenty of people doing that. But still, just keep that in mind. Next up, spot number 2, Nimrod. Nimrod's gameplay actually looked very, very impressive. Before this, I would have ranked them other way around, before I have seen that gameplay. And I did not necessarily see Nimrod kind of like looking as well. I'm not 100% sold on him being that good, but he did look quite nice. And after seeing all the showcases from the CCP and kind of like going over the potential matchups, the fact alone that he does Captain Britain quite fast with like 90% or 85% health and, very, very fast clear times, I do think that gives him value. I do think, again, Jean Grey, going down very, very quick, and a bunch of other mutants, Dust not necessarily being like as defensively relevant, and Onslaught having, quite a lot of counters around the game already. He might have regained some of his, position in the game, I'd say. He also is the type of champion that you do want to get as high SIG as possible, because it does affect him quite significantly, increasing his duration of his effects or potency of his effects by 35%, which means, longer or more potent longer energize, which effectively are more potent, and, longer shocks and all that stuff. So his SIG ability is actually also very, very important. So if you do go with Nimrod, again, he does want as high SIG as possible. And yeah, he also is more annoying than people realize to fight on defense. So there's some dual threat potential. So I'm putting Nimrod at spot number 3. Spot number 2, and I know controversially, and I hope I'm wrong. This is not what I want to happen. This is what I think is going to end up being. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm putting Hulkling in spot number 2. Now, Hulkling used to be the king of BGs, and he was like one of the more dominant Cosmic Champions in the game, for sure. I'm not sure he's going to be right now. I really am not. Haven't quite added Hulkling to the matchup spreadsheet yet, but still, if you look at the kind of like more relevant defenders in the game, there is going to be a fairly significant chunk that he doesn't clear. Like, you know, Yelena, for instance, obviously he's going to be quite bad against that. He's never been good against Atuma. Korg is not his best matchup. Now that he's relevant, I should probably replace that with somebody else. But obviously, Mystic class, he's not going to be doing too well either. He can potentially do either Enchantress or Kindred, maybe, if AI is good enough. Definitely not Nico, Reinter, and Destroyer. Mutant class, you know, Onslaught, he's fine. I think Jean, he's going to do okay. Absolutely no Captain Britain action there. Dust's kind of going to be tricky as well. Not sure about Gentle. Kind of slightly doubtful, maybe okay. Photon, he does well, but Spider-Woman, I don't think he's going to be that great against. Thing, absolutely not. And then obviously we do have the Serpent. I don't think he's going to be amazing for that either. Maybe like with perfect AI and like some specific metas, but sure. Then we do have... Then we do have the Thanos. Again, I don't think he's going to be particularly great against Thanos because you can't really hit his block and the protections will stall you. Dark Phoenix, absolutely not. And then even some champs in tech class, for instance, Zola, I don't think he's going to be like the best dual counter. He just won't be, realistically. He has never been particularly great against Red Skull either. Not super sure in Sentinel because, again, unless you have guaranteed crits and dots, Sentinel becomes like massively tanky. So there's going to be quite a lot that he can't do. And because of that, I'm not sold. Like, again, I hope he does amazingly well. I currently have my doubts. Because I like Hulkling. I like Hulkling a lot. I wanted him to get added to the game as a 7-star for a very long time. Now, again, like kind of like looking in the details, not necessarily looking the best at all times. At the same time, I also think his defensive value has kind of shrunken down because of the current age Mystics, or more specifically because of how potent the new Mystic champions are and how gotten because of like Serpent, Deathless Thanos, and Dark Phoenix. In addition to the fact that there's going to be plenty of random champions like Okoye that will still run through him very, very fast. And yeah, I really do hope that he's stellar. And I think he's going to be, at the very least, quite good. But right now, I'm personally looking for Scorpion more. And number one, the reason would be perhaps potentially because I think Science class needs a bit more help as well. And I would love to get like a strong Science champion right now. Number two, because even though Scorpion, generally speaking, is significantly slower than Hulkling is, he does have much better matchup spread. Also, when it comes to defensive utility, I do think he has kind of, he would be like a bit more relevant, I guess I would say. Because obviously you'd still have to protect him from Okoye and a handful of other champions, but, you know, it's not like skill classes popping off right in people's rosters and usage rates, so he has maybe a better chance of doing something on defense. And then, yeah, because again, there's an incredible amount of versatility, and he's always going to be a champion that, you know, kind of does rely on your skill level and know exactly what to do. But the access to the 3 different dots, which again, as I keep reminding, goes from like Poison Shock Rapture, which is direct, direct damage, energy damage, and physical damage. Access to 3, all basically sorts of different damage is utility in itself, and then obviously corresponding immunities. That is very good. And looking at the matchup spreadsheet, again, obviously all the Mystics would kind of get wrecked, but you can definitely, you know, reasonably well do the Onslaught, do the Gene, you'd be reasonably well against Gentle. With his regeneration, you should be able to do Captain Britain at least, you know, somewhat decently. You kind of want to stay away from Mr. Sinister, though. But Yeah, and like in a pinch, obviously, I think he's a half decent serpent counter. I think he could be okay for Dark Phoenix too, albeit not the fastest. And none of the immunities really do stop him. So I do think he has quite a favorable set of matchups. So in the Banquet box itself, I value the Scorpion the most at the moment. That's the champion that I would basically automatically rank up, and I'm after the most. And okay, and then it leaves us with Kingpin and Absorbing Man. I flat out, personally, I'm picking Kingpin. I can explain my reasoning as to why. They also actually would put Kingpin in second place of all these 8 champions. But for me, I think Absman is technically the better choice. I think, again, Abs has wider array of matchups right now in the game. And he has better chance of, you know, I think logically speaking, most people will probably end up going for Absman, or that's what logic would dictate. In my case, number one, Kingpin's my boy. Like, I just would not ever pass getting Kingpin because he's one of my all-time favorite champions, so I want him. So that out of the way, and my Kingpin bias out of the way. Number two is that currently I think skill class is struggling way more than Mystic class is. I think Mystic class is doing just fine in the game. And my Mystic champions, I'm kind of happy with them. I'm kind of set. It's not like I don't want to add in many more Mystic champions to my, general roster, or as at the very least, I don't feel like I'm lacking there because I do have the Shatra, Kushala, Tiger, Mystic Spidey ranked up, Nico ranked up. And I'm okay with that, basically. I think it just about covers all the bases. And skill class, even though I do have plenty of champions ranked up, I still feel like they kind of need more help, and I would benefit more from, increasing the power on my skill class. One thing, and the second thing is, I always liked his reliability and playstyle, and today Kingpin CCP videos came out as well, and they did show that he is doing quite well. He has plenty of damage. He has matchups that he can do very well. He has matchups that he can do in a pinch. Now, I do think, again, his defensive value has kind of gone down the bubble, but overall, I think Kingpin is going to do just fine. Additional fun thing to mention, and I don't think I can mention this in video, this line that Kabam has adjusted in the game, it's a bug, by the way. He doesn't have a 100% chance to purify his debuffs. Still the 60% chance. I don't know how Kabam bugs this out. I know why they did it, but it's been confirmed that it's a bug and not a silent buff, as if Kabam would ever do that. But still, absolutely love Kingpin, love his level 1, like his level 2. I think he's still cool and awesome. I will be picking Kingpin, but if you ask me what I think is the stronger of the two, right now I would pick Absman, because he does have a much wider matchup spread. There's plenty of immunities. Obviously, again, if you're going to take a look at the matchups, I actually added Absorbing Man and Kingpin in here, but when we look at the matchups for Absorbing Man, obviously, he does plenty of the tech class, like Red Skull, Solvarks, Shockers, and Fam. That's quite good. He's gonna go over most of the Cosmic class. Actually, this one I need to change to yes, because he does very well against Dark Phoenix. So it's not just the somewhat. He does okay going even against class disadvantage. For instance, he's a quite a good thing counter, which can come into use. And then kind of like moving further, I do think that he has the wider match spread. I also, however, do think that there is a caveat to this, because there are currently and will be something speaking against Absman that I do want to warn people of. Because you see somebody being able to do a fight with Absorbing Man, it doesn't mean that you will. It doesn't even mean that they themselves are able to do that fight consistently. In plenty of these showcase videos, you saw the perfect fight out of potentially 10 or 15. I know that, first of all, because I am recording videos like that as well. And with many champions, when you try and test out the matchups, you get the perfect fight in within the first or second try. And then there are harder to use champions that depend on AI, depend on your split moment decision-making skills, in this case your light intercepting skills and AI working into it and all that stuff. And Absman is not an easy champion to play well. And I'm just being 100% realistic here. And I'm not trying to, speak ill of the champion. What I am trying to say is that because you see Absman smashing 30 defenders in a YouTube video, doesn't mean that you will be able to smash 30 defenders with Absman. I'll be like brutally honest here. Because a lot of matchups with Absman are technically possible. Realistically, improbable to execute. Because again, you would need like a very good AI or a perfect set amount of skills or a mixture of both. And average player in MCOC is going to get out of Absorbing Man a lot less than exceptionally skilled players. And I just want to make sure people are aware of it. I still think the champion has definitely the bigger upside, but you also need to be able to use Absorbing Man well and know exactly what you're doing. So for like majority of the players at kind of like, average skill level, I genuinely absolutely would recommend Kingpin more. I think Absan's the better champion, for sure. But not for everybody. So keep that in mind. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the